live.
Hello and welcome to another live demonstration. As part of the Back to Basics series, I want to show you little tips or using tools through things that you may not have thought of. So on this programme, I want to talk about pastel blending. So pastel blending, I've got a few different types of pastel. This is a nice soft pastel, a hard pastel, or sometimes called a crayon, pastel pencil, and I've got a variety of different tools. Now, pastel blending is very dependent on the surface that you're going to use. A nice grippy surface like UArt paper doesn't always lend itself to a lot of blending. It grips the pastel, which it's supposed to do, so great for layering. And so what I'm going to do, I've got lots of different papers, which I've done in another clip before. I'm just going to work on, it's a traditional paper feel. So this is the SAA practice paper, artist quality paper, but it's a paper, so it's got that lovely ability to be able to blend the soft pastel in a way that you expect to be able to blend pastel. With the new papers, they're very grippy. You can blend them, but they all have different characteristics. So find a paper that suits the style you want to do. If you want lots of very soft blending, you need a paper that lends itself to this. Whereas pastel matte, pastel fix, grip. So if you want lots of strong colours or sharp lines, that's what they lend themselves to. So learn your papers. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few blending tools and a few blending tips. And then I want to show you at the end something that I was quite dubious about, but actually I found that it surprised me. So soft pastel, these are often come quite long here like this, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to break them in half. You can't work with a stick this big. What you need to do is have a pastel that you can use nice sharp edges for, or you can use the whole side. So just putting a layer of pigment on the paper, and the more pigment you've put on, the more you're able to blend and soften. So you can see here, I only had a little bit there. I've put a lot more pigment on and I'm able to blend. And you can see how much that moves. So let's put another colour next to it. Again, plenty of pigment onto the paper. And you can see how that again blends, and you can blend into the blue. So this traditional paper is really nice for this nice soft blending. It takes pastel pencil really easily, which again, some pastel papers tend to grip or don't take them as willingly. So great for practice, and again, it depends on how much pigment you've put on. You can layer, you can go over. A hard pastel, or sometimes called a crayon, is same as a pastel, it's just got a little more wax, so it's not as blendable. So lovely lines here, but you'll see, I've got very dirty fingers, so excuse me. It's not as blendable, it still retains some of its characteristics. So again, learning these things. The biggest blending tool I'm using is my fingers. But some people find that they get very messy or they don't like the feel. With some papers, they're quite grippy and they're quite sore to rub into. So there's plenty of tools that will help you blend without having to use your fingers. So put some more pigment on the paper, put little areas around. So you can use something like a colour shaper. Now this is a much more precise tool. It allows you to shape and move the pastel. You can see here, but you're able to use the fine line as well to be able to really soften and move. And they come in different shapes. This is a flat one, but they've got pointed ones. They've got slightly softer rubber. Again, just find one that works for you. And you can see here how that's really softening the pastel. And again, with the traditional paper, you do find it can be a little dusty, but with this I can grip some of the pastel dust and just push it back into the page. So a colour shaper. Blenders, a lot of people are familiar with these. It's a piece of paper really tightly wound and the blenders are very hard and stiff. So again, able to blend your pastel without getting it all over your fingers. This is a blender, but this is called a tortillion. Very similar to the blenders or the stumps, just a little bit more flexible, it's a little softer. They work the same way, but it's what you prefer. You may like the feel of the slightly softer feel. So being able to blend your pastels. So why not use a brush? A brush again. This is quite a stiff brush, so what it's doing is it's taking a lot of the pastel away and making sure it moves a lot further. So you can see that's much softer. Or nice soft shaped brush. And again, just see how it works. That's making quite gentle and soft blends. So lots of tools on the market, just find one that suits your style, or you're blessed with fingers. So as I was playing and trying out different tools to be able to give you some information, I came across something that I was a bit dubious about, and I thought, why would you need this material? So I tested it, and actually I've realised why you need it. Pastels, you can use pastels dry, they're often seen as a dry medium, but there's no reason why you can't use water with them as a wash. They're a pigment, they're made from clay, I've just checked that, mixed with a pigment that gives them their shape, but other than that they're a dry medium. But why not add water? So you can see here, all I'm doing, adding water, I'm moving the pigment around. So that's great. I know you can do that, and I've always known that it's a part of the technique that pastelists do use sometimes. Came across this medium, the Tim Fisher Soft Pastel Liquefier, and I thought, well, why? Why would I need that when I know I can use water? And I'm going to show you why, because I was very surprised and excited by the results. It comes in a spray bottle. I'm not going to spray on here because I find it goes everywhere. So all I've done is decant it into a little jar. So that side is water. And I'm just using the Tim Fisher liquefier on this side. And it'll feel slightly different. It feels a little greasier. But when it dries, the colour is much stronger, much more pastel-like colour than is with the water. The water tends to dilute the colour, and as it moves, it makes a lovely technique. But with the liquefier, what it does, it keeps that intensity of colour and it keeps that chalkiness. Whereas with the watercolour, it tends to make it look more watercoloury. But so I don't know if you can see it here because it's still drying, but I assure you, I was really pleasantly surprised by using the liquefier. It really kept the quality of the pastel. So what I'm going to do is just do a little demo using the pastels. So I'll do two of the same item, 2 apples. One I will move with water, the other I'll move with the liquefier, and you should be able to see the difference. So just do 2 of the same. I've got to blue, drop of blue in here. Thought I had a darker green, but it doesn't matter. I'll have a yellow. And this is how I often test things. I do the same thing at the same time, putting the same amount of pigment on, the same colours in the same places, just pretty much. And then I'm able to see how they react to different mediums. And excuse me if I get it everywhere, because I do tend to get all my mediums everywhere. But I think that's just part of the fun. So you can see here pretty much the same amount of pigment on both. Can finish them off with a hard pastel at the end. So the first one, I want to add water. Excuse me, I'm just going to blow. Now you can get dust blowers which are great for this. A brush tends to move the pigment a little bit around. So nice clean area. So water, adding water to this, and you can see it makes a lovely effect. A lot of people weren't aware that you can add water to your pastel and the effects it makes. So try it, have a go. You can use it as a base layer. So once that's dried, you can then go over the top with pastel. And you can see there what it's doing is moving the pigments. I just need to clean my brush off because I'm going into the yellow. And what it will do is just be too contaminated by the green. I like these water brushes, just full of water. And it just means I don't have to keep dipping into the water, or sometimes my tea. I did that the other day. So just a quick demonstration using the water. So for the next one, I'm going to use the liquefier. Clean my brush. You can see how much pigment you get from a pastel. Again, just the same kind of technique. You can smell the alcohol content in it, but it's not overpowering. Okay. And you can't really see a difference at the moment, but when they dry, this is when you do see the real difference in using the liquefier. Okay, so what I can do is I can go back in once that's dry. The water's drying, but the liquefier is almost dried straight away. It's a slightly quicker dryer. And then I can add a stalk. I picked up a random selection of colours, so I'm not quite sure what I've got. So using pastel pencil. I haven't got something dark, so I can go back in here. Just bring out under here. And I don't know if you can see, but I can see here that the pastel qualities, the colours are much stronger. They've brought out the colour using the liquefier. The water seems to dilute the pigment, which gives you a nice wash, but the liquefier makes it movable but keeps that strength of pigment. So, like I say, I was pleasantly surprised when I used it, and I've chosen to use it much more than water now for a base layer or a wash. So, like I say, I'm not sure you can see it fully, but I can definitely see the colours here are much stronger, and I've tested it numerous times. So there's lots of things on the market and there's lots of tools which can be overwhelming, but what I do is just use one thing, work with it, use it to its maximum, and then test it. Because like I said, I was sceptical. I was wondering why you would use a liquefier against water, but very surprised, pleasantly surprised, and actually the reason is it creates a different effect. It creates a much more pastel effect than the more watercolour effect. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you find something in the back of a cupboard and have a test and try. And we're always interested in your comments, so if you want to put comments at the bottom of the clip, we'll try and answer them as quickly as possible.
Let us bring out the artist in you. If you'd like to learn how to paint or improve your painting, the SAA, Society for All Artists, is here to inform, encourage, and inspire you every step of the way. When you become an SAA member, you get so many benefits, including the free bi-monthly newsletter Paint, packed with inspiring step-by-step projects, fascinating articles, and detailed information to get your creative juices flowing. discounts on over 13,000 art products featured on the SAA website and in the Home Shop catalogue, with free order line and free delivery in the UK mainland. A devoted SAA team on hand to answer your questions and give you the confidence and motivation you need to start painting and develop at a pace that suits you. Plus, a free welcome pack filled with gifts and practical help to get you started, as well as the opportunity to make friends with like-minded people.
Best thing about being a MAP member is the inspiration for the magazines, to be able to purchase things at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, you get the reduction on all the materials, the advice you get.
I can shop from home.
It's a community.
It seemed like a very friendly sort of organisation.
If somebody's thinking of joining, don't spend too long thinking. Just join. They'll love it.